Hey scholars and families, it's Miss Marnin. So I'm already here in the math page on Canvas. This is the week of November 2nd. So if you're following along with me, you want to see your students working on, I'm starting right here on the math page. So I'm going to go into modules where all the work is kept. So this week we're working on multiplication and division. So for Pod B, we're actually going to start by finishing up what we learned about subtraction. So this is what they are doing at home on Monday. So there's no Teams meeting for Pod B today. There's this overview if they need help to see all the directions and me go over it, kind of like how I'm going over it now. They're going to be working in class notebook, and then there's an independent practice. So if I hit next, this is the direction page for the class notebook. So they're Unit 2, page 8. So just as a reminder on how to get to the class notebook, it's right here on the toolbar. I'm just going to open it in a new tab. So here's our class notebook. They'll have to hit a purple sign in button and then hit open in OneNote Online, and it opens up in a new tab. So your student will have their name over here to click with all their own folders and worksheets. In the content library, I keep extra copies of the worksheets and my notes on them. So they're going to be on Unit 2, page 8. So this is what the page looks like that they will be working on. In Canvas, there is a video for them to watch that goes through the entire lesson. So there's no reason to not get this done. I do everything that's on this notebook page on here. They can play it and pause it as they go and as they need to. And there's even this vocabulary video that's shown here is also on this Nearpod that they can do by hitting login with Office 365. I'll just show you. Yep, it's me. So there's just this vocabulary video right here for them to watch. It's really catchy. It's really helpful when talking about subtracting integers and figuring out all these different rules. When they are done with class notebook and they've watched the video, there's an independent practice 8. There's a calculator on screen that they are welcome to use. They can use their own calculator. They select take the quiz to begin, and they'll have all of these different questions on subtracting integers. So that's it for Monday. I'm going to go back to modules and we'll go and look at Tuesday. So for Tuesday, again, we're going to be working in class notebook, and then there's an independent practice. So because this is a virtual day for your student, there is a video here, just like the last one, where I go through the entire lesson, and it is on Unit 2, page 9. So if we look, this is what the sheet looks like that your student should be working on in class or during class time. It talks about this integer card game that I'm trying to see if we can figure out how to do it online. And then it says complete independent practice 9. So make sure that this mark is done when the class notebook is done. We can hit next, and it takes us to that next independent practice. Just like the last one, there's a calculator on screen, and they can select take the quiz to begin. There's no school on Wednesday because of parent-teacher conferences, so I hope to see some of you there. So there's no work for students to do on Wednesday. So if anything, they should be making sure they're all caught up. This is the first week of our new marking period, so making sure everything for Monday and Tuesday is completely done. So for Thursday, we're going to start getting into multiplication. So I can multiply rational numbers using multiplication rules. So we're going to have Unit 2, page 10, and then they need to complete one standard quiz, and I'll talk more about what that looks like in a minute. So this is the day your student should be in school, but if they are not, there is a video lesson here. What we are working on is Unit 2, page 10. So this is the sheet we'll be working on in class. We're going to be learning the different rules for multiplying negative numbers and positive numbers, and what does it even mean? What does it look like? So if your student misses class or they want to watch this again just to get some extra practice, here's the lesson video. The next thing they're going to do, well, first we're going to hit mark is done when that's done. Then we're going to go back to the modules and pick a quiz. So if you go back to modules, at the bottom of the module are all of the different standard quizzes that we can work on right now. So we have 7NS1A is additive inverse, 1B is adding rational numbers, 1C is subtracting rational numbers, and 1D is using properties to add and subtract. So I already have the data wall open. They can access this from the home page, or you can access it right on my web page as I've shown before. So you can find your student's period. So here's period 5 and figure out what they need to work on. So if I was this student who has green and only one blue, I might work on this 1D because I don't have any data for this yet. However, if I was this student, I'm not ready to move on to this yet because 1D is adding and subtracting. And I have a yellow here for adding and a yellow here for additive inverse. So instead of doing 1D, I might try to work on mastery towards these two standards. I only ask that we pick one. If you want to do more than one, that's okay, but you don't keep retaking and retaking and retaking the same quiz in one sitting until you get 100, because that's just going to show me that you can memorize the answers that you've already tried instead of just taking it this week, get your score, and then we'll try again next week. So we'll try to grow a little bit. We'll address any concerns your student has in class, but I don't want to see them sitting here taking this 10 times in a row until they memorize the correct answers and can get them all right. That's not the goal of this. So that is for Thursday. For Friday, we're going to be working on multiplication practice. So now it's just going to be practice, 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 and then a lesson in Imagine Math. So Imagine Math is our extra resource that we're using to help fill in any gaps in our learning from the spring especially. So I'm going to just go and I'm going to show you the class notebook page. So here is our directions. We're doing this in class. There's a video right here if you're absent or missed class or you just want it again. It's going to be Unit 2, page 11. So it's going to look like this. It has a bunch of practice on multiplication here. When they're done with class notebook, they click mark as done. And then to get to Imagine Math, to work on our next lesson, we need to go back to Clever. So Clever is the way your students are logging onto Canvas in the first place, so they all know how to get to Clever. And right here, it's this orange one that says Imagine Math. So this one will give students lessons that they need to work on at their level. So it's really important we're doing it. Your student should have already taken the benchmark and is now working on different lessons, and it will go through the 7th grade curriculum, and it will give supplementary lessons as they need it, and it will challenge them when they need it. So this is a really good resource. So when they're done with Imagine Math, they're done with math for the day, they're done with math for the week, and that's it for this first week of our second marking period.